This is the Ink, Pray, Love podcast. We talk all things health, wealth, and community connection. Let's go. Welcome to this episode of the Ink, Pray, Love podcast. This is a little itty bitty one because I want to be giving practical life tips that'll help you live a more centered, successful, full and vivid, skillful life. These are tips that I learned along my journey, going from the mess of a human that I was into being the somewhat less messy of a person I am now. They're tips that will provide value. That's all I want to do here is just give you valuable stuff that I've used practically to change my life. Today, I want to talk to you about building self-confidence and self-esteem and believing in your abilities. Because so many of us don't actually achieve and don't get what we're supposed to be getting done and don't live to our full potential because we don't believe in ourselves. And I was there. When I left the dope game, I was a drug-addicted drug dealer. I had the confidence of a loser. Really, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't know if I was going to be anything. I was so scared of being a failure because I was turning into one. And I needed to change my life. I thought that I could be a somebody if I just got out of the neighborhood that I grew up in and got away from the drugs, of course, and have purpose. And that was exactly it. But I didn't really know what I was good at. So I started developing a little bit of a system for me to start getting good at little things so I could then build confidence within myself. So firstly, I audited what did I actually do beforehand, a history of success in some way that showed me that I was a capable human. So at that point, all I had really done in my life was get kicked out of high school, but I became a black belt kickboxer. I was teaching kickboxing, and I was like, okay, there's one thing that I have accomplished right there that I could be proud of. So, okay, firstly, what can we do that we're actually proud of? Secondly, was what do I love doing? Well, I love connecting people. I like making people laugh. I really enjoyed building things. I did a little bit of property development. I bought a few apartments and sold them. That was something that I was like, okay, I did a thing. So I looked at my history of what worked, and I stopped focusing on what didn't work, because clearly I had a lot that didn't work, that was dysfunctional in my life, that was weighing me down. The weighing me down stuff was hampering my ability to feel confident in myself. So then I picked out some goals. Okay, how can I feel confident? Well, let's pick a mini goal. Mini goal was I wanted to learn Indonesian. I was moving to Bali. I wanted to learn a language, learn a skill that would help me on my path of being a Bali entrepreneur. And when I started doing it and actually showing up to the lessons and seeing that like, hey, I could kind of do this, and seeing the little wins, I started to feel a bit more confident in me getting it done. And that was an important step right there, is pick a goal that's small enough that'll help you build a bit of confidence, and having the awareness to celebrate that you're winning the game. You're actually doing a little bit better than yesterday. This is an important process in feeling more confident within yourself, because so many of us don't take the time even the chance or the awareness to step out of being in the driver's seat for a second and then look and saying, hey, look, you're doing a good job. So that's what started making me feel a little bit more confident, was I started getting a little better. My days started sucking a little bit less. I started being a little bit more mindful. I did a yoga teacher training, and I didn't exactly want to be a yoga teacher, but I was just happy that I was able to do a yoga teacher training. I did a thing. And this is a big point I want to be making here, is go do things. Doesn't matter what it is for you, as long as it's a thing that's helping you on your path to building some confidence, because we gain momentum this way. Now, you've probably been in a negative spiral before where you keep taking L's mentally, financially, whatever, physically, in your health. And that then feels like you're on a downward spiral. Like, will things ever get better? I've been there many times where I'm like, yo, is this just going to keep happening? And what we need to do is stop, reset, and start getting us the easy wins. Like handballing them to us and knocking it out the park wherever we can, right? The small ones. So this happened to me recently. I just got back from Bali. When I was in Bali, it felt kind of dysfunctional. And really, like, it was weird energy around. Like, I had some strange energy around cars. When I was landing into Bali, I felt anxiety, from my accident. The roads were kind of weird. My truck broke down right away. The rental car, the tire popped like the next day. The day after that, someone walked into traffic without looking, broke the mirror, the driving mirror on the left side. And I'm like, what is going on? And I started going through a bit of an emotional spiral around it. I'm like, yo, am I cursed? Like, is Bali kicking me out? Is there just this, fucked up energy around me? And so then I stopped. And I took a second to look above the situation because I started seeing I was going into a bit of an anxiety spiral. And I was like, things aren't going well. A few business things were supposed to come through, ended up costing me money instead of making me money. I was starting to take on some L's, like 5 things at once. Ding, 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 within a week, right? So stopped, got a little spiritual around it. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I was there between 2 solar flares and Mercury in retrograde. As hippy-dippy as it sounds, hey, that's a thing. Could be a thing. Let it be a thing. Now, what can I do to combat the thing or to deal with the thing? Sorry, maybe combat's not the right word. So I took notice of what was going on in my life, and I took notice of how I could create more agency in what I was doing and rack up some easy wins. So first, I energetically cleaned myself out, did a blessing ceremony, shake off that bad juju. Then I made a plan of what needs to be done and how to accomplish it as easy as possible and recenter myself mentally. And the plan actually also was start going to yoga every day again. Easy one. Start meditating again. Okay, good. Stop drinking and smoking pot, right? Get back to health. Okay, I can do those things. Those are easy wins. And then the larger wins would be, okay, jumpstart your coaching practice, build a program, find a new manager for Karma House, businessy stuff that's more complicated and thick. But I noticed I wasn't feeling confident in those before I made my plan. So I made an easy plan that I could confidently actually do to build momentum into then having the bigger wins. So this is how it works. This is the point was set easy goals, hit those goals, get the momentum, nail your bigger goals. And as soon as I made this plan, as soon as I made the plan right away, I felt better because I put myself through my own coaching practice. This is what I do with my clients. So if they're feeling like they're not in the right place mentally, spiritually, financially, okay, let's stop. Let's make a plan. What's holding you back right now? And in my case, I was like, man, I think energetically, I'm just spreading myself too thin. I'm doing too many things. Okay, I coached myself. What are the things that matter the most? Okay, great. Health, wealth, family. Yeah, okay, those top 3. I want those. Spiritual practice. Yeah, I want that. I want my mental health. I want to be magnetic to opportunities. Okay, well, if you're saying yes to too many things that aren't aligned to those top goals, you're being spread thin, and you're taking on these L's because you're not energetically aligned to your mission. You taking those L's is fucking up your confidence. You're starting to feel like you're out of alignment and you don't feel good about yourself. And I was feeling not very confident as a result of that. I was noticing I was meeting people I was supposed to be meeting, and I didn't quite feel like me. And I felt like there was this cloud over me. Now, you probably felt like that before. Now, this is the important part of the process was, okay, I recognize this is happening. I objectively look at it. I make a plan. So self-counseling, coach yourself. Write down what's the problem? What do you think the causes are? What are the solutions? And then practical action steps. And I had to make that plan. Okay, every day, this is my schedule for the next week. And I was tight on that schedule for the next week. I made sure I went to yoga. I made sure I meditated. I made sure I followed my schedule. I made sure I followed up with the people I needed to follow up with. And I was tight with that. So yeah, you can manifest a bigger, better life by being practical. So you need to do both things, right? As a result of hitting those easy wins, my confidence started getting better. I started feeling better. I started feeling like me again. And then when I landed back in Vancouver, it was like ding, 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 like lucky bounces. I started getting back to manifesting awesome things. So as a result of me clearing out my confidence, right? You practically do this. So you audit what you're good at. You add to what you're good at by getting easier wins. Add to your skill set so you feel like, hey, I'm now sharper mentally. I'm now feeling aligned physically. I'm now able to be a clearer channel. And you can start bringing things in more. Now, the other parts of confidence that come through from you while I'm talking to you guys is often we can feel like we're not good enough, and we can feel like people are going to judge us. So judgment's a big part of this confidence thing. We're worried about what people will think. What people are thinking about you is none of your business. That's their thing. That's their drama. it doesn't at all need to be something that changes the way you think in your mind and control your thought processes. That's their drama. What people think about you isn't any of your business because you can't control what people think about you. Everyone's going to have their opinions always, and that's rooted in their judgment, in their trauma, in the way they are brought up, in their conditioning. That's not your circus. It's not your monkey. So what you need to do is control how you feel about yourself. Confidence needs to come in through what you feel about you, by building integrity with yourself again, by loving what you do, by setting goals that you want to achieve, not your parents, not society, not people on Instagram, none of that shit. It's what you want to do. So like I said, I bring this back to my practice. If my spiritual practice isn't feeling aligned, I don't feel good about myself. But as soon as I start telling me, hey, I want you to be more spiritually developed right now, and I start following my own plan, I start building confidence within myself. Because this is where confidence obviously comes from, self-confidence. It's you, not what people think about you. So you just need to follow your own rules. So make rules that you can follow by coaching yourself. And this is just a beauty of it, because that's where self-confidence comes from, is by building integrity with yourself and showing up for you. And then as a result, you don't feel so dysfunctional around other people. You can actually fully be you because you're showing up for you. So when you're around these other people, you can be centered, you can be whole. The other thing is, people often think in confidence, it's like, what will people think about me? And that's actually a selfish, egoic way to think. Sorry. What you need to be doing is, how can I serve? What value I'm adding? How can I be a net positive to this room I'm in? And that helps you feel more confident, because you're switching the way that you're thinking of me, what about me? How will people think about me? Am I good enough? Are they looking at me? Do they like me? It's fucking selfish, honestly. Instead of, how can I be an asset to this room? How can I leave these people happier that they were around me? How can I shine my light in this room? Well, you got to find your light first. So get right with yourself in the morning. Hit those easy wins. Go to the gym, go to yoga, meditate, breathe. Get right with yourself, right? First things first, deal with here. And then the rest of the day, you can be more confident because you already built integrity with yourself. And then you can show up to the room and have the intention of, I'm just going to be good to be around. Right? I'm just going to be a happy person that people are going to enjoy being around, because I'm going to be positive. I'm going to smile. I'm going to look people in the eyes. I'm going to do what I'm going to say I'm going to do. I'm going to be nice to them. I'm going to do the nice things. I'm going to be a good person. And actually follow through on being a good person. And that's where confidence is going to start coming in and building onto that. Now, to be confident in your abilities, this is the other part, is, am I good enough? Am I going to perform? Will I be a good enough coach? Right? That's one thing that comes up. It's like, am I actually a good coach? Well, I'm a better coach when I'm prepared. I'm a better coach when I look into, the file of my client and I think about what they're going through, and I take 15 minutes before a client session to actually think about them and tune into them and what are they going through? Okay, how can I serve them? What today would be an awesome session for them? And I take the second to think about them and what they're going through, rather than, am I a good coach? See, story checks out. It works because I flipped the switch. And the confidence thing comes from me. I'm an asset now. I'm thinking about being an asset. I'm preparing. I'm practically preparing. I'm researching. Okay, which antidote or what practice or what do they need right now? Which book are they going to need? Which one should I quote? And then show them this new technique. What should I do to help them? That's when the confidence starts coming in, because I prepared myself, right? It's just like if I go on somebody's podcast, it's like, well, if I have a point I want to make, I'm much more prepared. I'm confident in my ability to perform because I practiced enough. We need to be confident in our abilities because we practice our abilities. We're capable because we took the time and effort to practice, go into it and go deep. You'll feel much more confident in your abilities if you know what the fuck you're talking about. So study instead of wasting your time, seeing what Hollywood people are doing. No one gives a fuck, okay? Stop caring about what Kanye and Kim and whatever the current thing is. It doesn't matter. It's wasting your life. Make sure you're consuming content like this. That is actually getting in the right mindset to provide value, to change your perspective in a positive way. This is the thing. If you continuously shape your perspective and mold your mind to be thinking in a way that's adding value to your life and letting you add value to others' lives, you can't help but be more confident in who you are because you add value. You're useful. This is an important thing. I've been told this once before. What should I be when I grow up? Be useful. That's a good thing to be, really, because you'll feel confident, you'll have purpose. And when people don't feel confident in who they are, maybe they're thinking too much about themselves and not how much they can impact the world. Because if you're doing something that's worth it, that's helping people, it's a worthy path to walk. And it'll help you get out of bed those days that suck. It'll help you nurture yourself when you feel alone. It'll help you keep your shit together when all the other shit's falling apart. Because you know you're somebody that's meant to be here on this earth, helping, serving, giving, loving, and you'll be proud of your life at the end of the life when you lived it. You really did it because you thought outside of yourself and you were there for other people. And you meditate on this. So I think this is another point I want to make on confidence is have your self-practice where you get that time to connect with yourself and you dive into that when you're alone and you're in your thoughts and you just go for a walk and look at trees. Be around tree, be in nature, whatever. Just be alone in that space. And then think about the type of person you are in your heart of hearts. Deep within your heart, what type of person are you? Most of us are compassionate, caring people, aside all the bullshit and all the stuff that we want in our lives. Deep within, we just want to give, and we just want to be liked. We want to like other people. We just want to love and be loved. Great. So that's who you are. How are you actioning that in the world? Because if your love isn't being actioned, it's a waste. It's suppressing it. Love needs to be loved. You gotta go out there and give it. So if you can see you're actioning the raw talent and love that you have within you, and you actually have an outlet for it, and you're giving that, that's a channel, that's a pathway, and you're being useful again right there, and it's making your life worth living, and that will make you feel more confident. You know that you're doing something you're supposed to be doing. I mean, where are the factors where you're not feeling confident, right? Like, you're worrying about what people think. You're worrying about if you're good. You're worrying about if it's going to work out. You think you're going to fail. You're worrying about failure, right? That's a big one. We're not confident because we're so worried that we're going to fail. Yeah, but that's the only way to try. I failed at so much shit. But then I have good stories to tell after. And so many people don't want a coach or a teacher or anybody they want to learn from if they haven't failed first, if they haven't learned from these lessons. So just think of it as your next failure is just going to add to your depth of character and make you someone worth knowing. Because nobody wants a person that just had the cruisy, easy life. No, you want some battle scars. And maybe not actual scars like I have. You like failure scars, because those are good ones to have, right? Then you can talk about it. Then you can serve people and have a further depth of experience. So there's another part of confidence that people come in is they've hurt too much. They've lived a dysfunctional life. They've been an addict or a failure or whatever. Life has thrown their way and it's hurt them, and they feel like a victim now, or they just feel hurt. This is a transformational point to make in the sense of you can alchemize this and use your hurt and your trauma to shift yourself into a survivor, someone of power. You're here right now listening to this. If you didn't survive what you've been through, you wouldn't be here listening to this. You already can give yourself a pat on the back for that. Good job. Because you made it this far. If we reframe what we've been through to see that we've actually made it this far and we've got the depth of knowledge from the space that we had been through. You learned from what you've been through. I hope you learned your lesson, right? And if you haven't, learn it now. Integrate what you've been through as power. You transmute that as now the ability to serve. If you've hurt, you now have the ability to be that much more compassionate and have the range of depth of experience of giving and caring because you've hurt this much. It's directly proportional. So the amount that you've suffered is actually the amount that you have potential in giving and caring, because you know what it's like to suffer like that. So you want to make sure other people don't either. And you know what that roads look like because you made those mistakes. So now you can help other people not make those mistakes, or at least you can empathize with them. When someone's going through that same thing, you can say, brother, I know what that's like. I've been there too. Or, hey, I know what that's like. Here's how I got out of it. And that gives you range. And that range is something you can be proud of. So let your battle scars be worn with confidence. Let the trauma you've been through be worn with confidence and make you a more solid human. This is what the boys said to me when I got back to Bali, the Yogi Lab boys, Dave and AJ and all my close buddies out there, having seen me go through the accident and come back after. And they were like, oh, you feel more solid now. And I was like, well, yeah, I've been eating a lot in Vancouver. There's good weed, man. I'm getting fat. Like, no. What they mean is you're just a bit more centered. Like you just feel a bit more solid. And I thought about it and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I almost died. And I just kind of know what I'm made out of now. Apparently a bunch of metal, but actually like I can feel I could go through something like that. And I'm less scared. I see a truck and a motorcycle now. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I've been there. But it doesn't weigh me down like it used to because I reframed my mentality around that. That, hey, I actually can handle that and come out and still smile and still love and still want to serve, still build some businesses, still be in the game. It's okay. You can do that. You can take a hit, like a life slap, you can take that. And that made me feel more proud of myself in the sense that I know what I'm made out of now. So I feel more solid. That helped me feel more confident, not in a cocky way, not in a way that it's just like, okay, you went through a thing, but you went through it. And I think a lot of us need to derive from our experiences that they found negative to champion our own selves as survivors in an internal way. Just, hey, you made it this far. So have the confidence that you're there already. Have the confidence with your inner knowledge and your inner trust that you're on the right path. Because if you're seeking, which you are, if you're listening to this podcast, there's something in you that wants more in your life, because that's my vibe and that's the people that I tend to attract. You're already here. You're already working. So have some confidence in the fact that you're moving and you're moving in the right direction. Because the more that you put energy into your own self-confidence, the more that you're going to attract into your world. And you've heard of this law of attraction type of thing. And it's the real deal. The more energy you put into what you want in a positive form, not just like you want to turn into a dragon or some shit. I mean, I want to serve at a deeper level, or I want to love at a deeper level. I want to give at a deeper level. And you're confident you have that ability to do it. You trust yourself. You're confident that you have a big heart. And you nurture your big heart. And you exercise that big heart. You work it out. And the more that you do that, the more that heart's going to grow. And then you can be confident in when you say, I have a big heart. You can wear that heart on your sleeve and be proud of it. This is when the universe will be like, okay, we see your big heart. Here is big heart stuff. And it's going to bring more love into your life. When you think, I'm a creative, I'm a connector, I'm going to sharpen my creative mind. The universe will give you more creative elements, more things to be creative with, because you're confident in what you're doing. You're planting your flag. So even if you're a little shaky in what you're trying to do right now, even if you're a little unconfident, you're not totally sure on if this is it or am I enough, plant your flag. Just put it there and be like, no, I'm this person and I'm going to do what it takes to be this person. I'm going to do this person things. This is how you develop and nurture your confidence. Just like I wanted to be a good person and I was a fucking drug dealer. I didn't feel like a good person. So I planted my flag and said, no, now starting today, the day I got on that airplane and I made it out, the airplane story, you probably heard it, I'm going to be a good person today. And from then on. And I planted that flag and I started doing good person things. I looked into what would a good person do. Well, he'd probably do charity work. He would probably help people wherever he could. He'd probably learn to be a more compassionate person. He'd probably just be nicer and less self-centered and work on his shit. Like go into the shadow work on why he wasn't that good of a person before. That's probably what that guy would do. Okay, make a list, plan it out. I made a list. What is the things that good person things would do? So I started checking that list off. I started doing good person things. And it wasn't so long when I got it reflected onto me, 3-4 months down the road when I just started doing good person things, that someone came up to me and they're like, wow, we just appreciate your heart and what you do. And I was like, cool. They had no idea I was selling coke like 3 months ago. Great. It's that easy. You can switch. And you still got to continuously do the work. And I had to clear a lot of karma the hard way. But by setting a plan and planting my flag into what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be, and then doing those person things, I started attracting in more of that, and I started feeling confident in my abilities. Now, this isn't like an overnight thing where I just felt like the good person right away. There's a lot that will bubble underneath the surface, right? We have a whole life of conditioning that we need to go through and get past. There's going to be things that you're going to continuously be unraveling for years. This is part of the game. There's all this bubbling underneath that we do need to address. That's the shadow work, right? But this is what coaching's for, is positive action in the future, right? Therapy is good for unraveling the past, and hey, it's important. Breathwork's important. And go back there and make peace with your demons. But what I'm about is planning for the future so you can start making a positive impact and a history of success of being the person you want to be. This is the quickest way to be the person you want to be, by fucking being him, like her, whatever you identify as, is to go into the game, get into the process, plan what the action steps are and take action. And remember your mission, why you're trying to be that person, right? So if you want to be successful, have successful habits. If you want to be more mentally and emotionally stable, dive deep into your emotions. Learn how to hold more emotional weight, right? And if you want to be more confident, practice doing things that make you feel confident. And often the things that make you feel confident are going to be things that you feel good at, that make others feel good. When it's outside of just your emotional range and other people are affected by it, it amplifies the actual net result or the emotional juice, whatever you do has, right? So if it's just a you thing alone and you just want to feel more confident and it's like, cool, put on a nice dress or a nice, get a nice haircut or something, that's great. I mean, it does work for a quick fix. I'm like, hey, look good, feel good, baby, do what you got to do. But if you want it to last, make sure what you're doing is going to impact someone else. And this is how you'll feel more confident in what you're doing. So if you're actually at a level of service that is impactful and you savor the impact, you let it sink in that what you're doing is actually working and that people are actually feeling aligned to that, you're going to do a much better job. And if you want more help, feeling more confident, making a bigger impact, and living a fuller, more epic life, this is a program and a coaching practice I'm putting together, and already coaching now, but I'm calling this the way of the heart warrior. And it's a way of living that is diving fully into the path of your heart while impacting the world, while building business, while connecting with people around the world, while having spiritual allies everywhere you go. Living a big, full, epic life that leaves nothing on the plate, that impacts people with a positive legacy that you can be proud of at the end of your life, that you're like, I fucking did it. You did your life fully. There's this Drake quote I love in one of his songs that he's like, my funeral going to be lit because of how I treated people. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want my funeral to be a party because I loved as much as I could, and I gave as much as I could, and I lived as much as I could, and I built everything I could. And I think this is the path of the heart warrior. Not just having fancy shit. Nah, making people feel like they were much better off having met me. And I think this is what you're resonating with too, if you're listening to this podcast. So give me a shout if this is your jam and you want to be a heart warrior too. Let's get it. Thanks for stopping by today. And I hope you got some insight out of this. I hope you live an inspired and epic rest of your day. Peace out, homies. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ink Pray Love podcast. I hope you found it inspiring, entertaining, funny, and also feeling a little bit more present and connected to yourself. Please leave a review and like and subscribe and do all those things. I'd really appreciate that. As well as if you're feeling in a giving mood, this podcast is there for the charities that I love to support. Go to www.arenbahia.com/charity and get some of those good karma points. This podcast is brought to you by Lighthouse Studios in Bali, as well as Full Reset Coaching. That is my coaching practice. And if you're looking for help in business, inner game impact, and building your legacy to be something you're proud of, your brand, your business, and how you walk the earth and who you impact, and also having the mindset and the heart set to be able to be happy handling it all, I'm here for you. Just DM me. Let's go. Peace out, homies. I'll see you on the next episode.